Hello. On behalf of the Putnam County Playhouse, I'm Jack Randall Earls, the man in the chair, and we're getting to know Beth Bax. Hi, Beth. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you.
So nice to see you.
Yes, you too.
You know, you've been at the Putnam County Playhouse for quite a few seasons, and you've done a lot of things. You've directed and you've acted. Tell me, when did you first get involved in the Putnam County Playhouse? What was your first show?
So my first show was actually a children's production. So I got started doing the youth workshop. And so it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And it was done out on the concrete slab in front of the little barn. We used to have bleachers out there.
Yes.
And so that was my first start, so it was 1997. We moved to this area in 1996, the summer of 1996, and got involved. Linda Ford and Ernie Ford told me all about the Playhouse, and it sounded great. They knew my theater background, and so I've been busy pretty much constantly, a few years off and on, but yeah, that's my first start.
Great. Well, what was your favorite directing project that you've done here at the Playhouse?
So I would say I actually have two. To Kill a Mockingbird, though, is definitely my favorite.
Yes.
So it is. It went over very well. Here, it was a struggle since we don't have a lot of people of color in Greencastle, but we were able to find some excellent actors, and it was a big hit. And
Yes.
we had a wonderful cast that meshed well, and so I think it was very well received.
Yes. Now, I think Chris Worster played Atticus,
Yes, he did.
and Bill Wieland was the prosecuting attorney, if I'm remembering it right.
Yes.
And it was a very moving, intense performance by Keith Bodnarik as Bob Ewell.
Yes.
The audience was ready to pounce on him the way he acted that role. But I tell you, Beth, the performance that I remember from that so well is Mary Michael as Mayella Ewell.
Yes.
She was tremendous, touching and truthful. It was something. I was in the courtroom scene and I could watch her every night.
Yeah.
And the young girl who played Calpurnia, where did she come from?
Very good. I can't remember if she was also, I got one of my actors from Danville, and I can't remember where Calpurnia came from.
Oh, she was tremendous.
Yes, she was.
And Gigi Genuine, Gigi
Yes.
Finland played grown-up scout.
Yes.
And I can still see her standing right there saying those words. That's a good choice, Beth. That would almost be my choice as well for you. And you mentioned there was another.
I was thinking of my comedies. In fact, the show that I like acting in the most, but also being in, is You Can't Take It With You. But I would say in terms of directing, it was The Nerd. So, which yours truly played the nerd.
Yeah. Yes, Beth thought that it was typecasting that I would play the title role in The Nerd. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
You did a lot of work on that, and you really let us find ourselves on stage.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah, I like to do that.
appreciate that so much. Yes. You also directed Barefoot in the Park, a production of Barefoot in the Park.
I did.
Which was sweet. Well, that's one of my favorite plays too. I love that. Now, do you prefer directing over acting or acting over directing? Do you have a preference?
I like both of them, but when I was directing at Greencastle High School from 2008 to 2019, and so I was doing that, immersed in that all school year. So then I like to come out here in the summers and act. It was just different. The last thing I wanted to do was direct all year and then come out here and direct again. So acting was my favorite thing to do. But in the years before that, either one. I am a control freak, so directing is fun because I get to be in charge of everything.
Yes.
But then it's nice in acting when you can just sit back. You have that that pressure's gone. You just
Yes.
have to rely on
Yes.
that one role. So
Well, now you've appeared in many different roles on stage, many different kinds of roles. Do you have a favorite role that you've done on stage?
I have two of those as well. One is Christine in The Bad Seed. And I wish I could do that role again because I was, as you know, since you directed it, I was ill both weekends. And the first weekend, it was so frustrating because it was such a neat role and very different from anything I'd ever played.
Yes.
And then I had no voice. And I just feel like I was out there forcing it every night. So it would be nice. I wish, my dream would be to redo that role.
Well, you were very, very good, and that's a tough role.
Yes.
That's a tough role
Yeah.
because the audience, where does their sympathy lie?
Right. Right, exactly.
Did a very good job. You mentioned two roles.
Yep, and then the other one is Penny in You Can't Take It With You. So one of my favorite plays,
Oh, my
and
goodness.
she's so fun. That's another one that maybe in my lifetime I'll get to play that role again.
Well, I remember you in that role, particularly when you were in your smock and painting that picture of Mr. DePena in
Yeah.
his toga. And the other family comes in, your daughter's boyfriend's family comes in, and it's like there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
what's going on. Come on in.
Come on in.
Join the party. And then, of course, you play the word game,
Yes.
Which-
my
which-
favorite scene.
which starts out so innocently.
Right.
And Penny turns the corner.
Yes, she
It was lovely. I love to watch that every night. Now, as you mentioned, you were at the theater department at Greencastle High School. You directed
Yes.
a lot of shows there. The Diviners. You directed Leading Ladies and musicals as well. School of Rock. Is
Yes,
that the
School
name
of
of it?
Rock.
School of
Yep.
Rock. And what do you think is the biggest difference between directing at a school like Greencastle High School and then performing, directing, doing things out here at a community theater?
Actually, the only difference, because I always have had people willing to step up and help out in different roles to help make the production a success. But with kids, you have to start. The first meeting is the rules. We go through the rules sheet. And for musicals, it's like 25 different rules that they have to follow. And I usually had them memorized, and I knew if they violated one, I'd say, look at number 3 again, check that out. Adults usually don't have to do that.
Usually.
So usually you don't, and it's just nice. It's like you're just out here with your peers then having fun doing theater. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Putnam County Playhouse certainly appreciates all the work that are done at the 4 high schools in the county: South Putnam High School, North Putnam High School, Cloverdale, and Greencastle, because they're a great feeder group. They
Yes.
send us a lot of talent,
Right.
and we certainly appreciate all the work that is done at the different schools here in the county. Do you have any humorous tales or anecdotes about things on stage or off that you can share with us that you can share?
Well, it's funny because the two that come to mind both involve you. The first one was when you walked out on stage, and I had not blocked it this way, but you walked out on stage in rehearsal one night and strolled across the stage as the nerd would do, and you decided to just do a little spin on the coffee table.
As you do.
As he would. And everyone was just rolling with laughter. In the audience, they would roll with laughter. And then the other one was when we were married in I Remember Mama. And we had a baby.
As you do.
As you do. And the baby doll would disappear, as many props do, from the props table from time to time. And I can't remember why that was, if it was kids in the show or adults in the show just messing with us. So you decided to put the baby in the freezer. That way we'd always know where it was. So then every night we would, when we heard the cue, and then we knew it was time to get ready to go on, you'd say, well, time to get the baby out of the freezer.
Yes, yes, and we always knew where it was.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember Mama Karen Temple played the lead in that. She was very good.
Yes,
and Ernie
yeah.
Ford directed that, didn't he?
I believe he did.
Yes, and that was another cast that I really enjoyed, and I think that's the only time we've produced that play.
I think so.
That's a very sweet play.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this up, and let me ask you, Beth, when you get to theater heaven, what do you hope to hear the director say?
Well, there's a line that is the motto for the International Thespian Society, and it is, and I think it's from a Shakespearean play, act well your part, there all the honor lies. So I would love it if I get to theater heaven and they say, the person in charge says, you acted well your part, there all the honor lies.
Thank you, Beth. Thanks for
you.
talking to us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Putnam County Playhouse, this is Jack Randall Earls, the man in the chair, and we hope that we get to see you again soon.